Testing, check, check, check. Ready.
And are we rolling?
Wait, hold on. All right, that's better.
Like, how did you land on this collection of songs?
Yeah, I started a record that I was gonna call it 615, and I was so committed to the title that at the end of Brown Eyes Baby music video, I give the girl in the song a bracelet, and on the bracelet it says 615. And so I was already preempting everything with what I thought was going to be the first single off this new album, blah, blah, blah. Well, that song didn't even make the album. I just let it be as a standalone single. So, but I had a vision for making this 615 album that just didn't pan out. Never happened to me before. When I go in and make records, it's quite free-flowing and spontaneous. So I don't usually have a preconceived idea of what I want to do. I just want to go in, start playing, and record songs that I feel passionate about, and then see if we end up with enough of them to make an album, and then they all go together. And like, okay, well, there's the album. That's usually been the way I've done records. And 615 was my first attempt at doing something that had not so much a theme, but maybe a framework. Like, okay, it's all going to be done here in Nashville, all Nashville writers, all Nashville, you know, that's all here, nobody from outside, and all this other stuff, you know. But I also tried to make it while I was touring, which I'd never really done before. So I was coming home from tour, recording a song in the studio, which we all felt really good about. And then I go out on the road and tour for a few weeks, come back, do another song, felt good about that. So piecemeal recording each song, which felt good individually. And it was when I go to sequence all these songs that I suddenly went, everything feels a bit linear. Like, it's a lot of the similar kind of thing, and they all feel really good, but it didn't feel like it made the album. It didn't feel like an album. It just felt a bit one note. It wasn't the fault of the theme I had in place, but I thought I should just be able to do whatever I want to do. So I'm going to get rid of this framework and then just write, create, play with whoever, whenever, however, and just become more playful and liberated with it. And that's when the spirit came back. I think the first thing just was lacking a bit of spirit. It had a lot of this and didn't have a lot of this.
Was that a hard call for you to make? Because that's a lot of work. I bet it was.
Yes. Yeah. It was, because it was also a domino effect feeling that it wasn't just, oh, this one didn't work out, I'll just, get back to work for a little bit. It was like a huge amount of time. In my head, I already felt like, well, this is going to take another year because of the nature of touring and various things and family and just life. This is going to take another year. Which means we won't tour next year. So that pushes the tour off into 2 years, and suddenly everything just felt like it was dominoing way into the future. So I thought, well, do I just say this is fine? This album's fine. It's got good songs on it, and then we can get it out. We can hit the road. We can keep the thing going. This would be a much better plan, but I've got to live with it, I've got to live with the record. I've got to go and then play those songs live, and I think there's some songs missing from this record. I think there's some really strong ones, and what I did was there was 4 songs that I really loved on that record, Daytona, Messed Up As Me. There's a few on there that were in that cluster, and I thought I'll take those songs and I'll see what those songs would need to support them across an album. Need some more lively songs, need some shredding guitar solo songs, need some this, need some that, need some, So, but I used those 4 songs to kind of almost then tell me what the rest of the song should be.
What were the other 2?
So Daytona, Messed Up As Me, Hard Like a Hometown, and I think Break the Chain was the other one. Those 4 songs, and if you hear those 4 together, you're like, oh yeah, I wouldn't put those 4 together. And I had 13 songs, all very similar to that. So I took those 4 and just built around them.
You spaced them out. That's what.
Yeah, spaced them out and then built around them. What should go before it, what would come after it in sequencing a record, and went about it that way.
So were those like your tent poles? Did you start like writing and looking for songs at that point to fit with those, or did you just wait and see what you got, like what you came up with?
Yeah, I just threw myself into the playfulness of the studio, of writing with people I'd never written with before, people like Chase McGill, and even my bass player Jerry Flowers. I'd written with him, but not really properly written with him. Greg Wells, who's from LA, who I'd written with a lot, I brought him to town, put the four of us together. We wrote Straight Line and we wrote Chuck Taylor's in two back-to-back days. And just with those two songs, I felt like, oh, here we go. This is the spirit I was missing on the other songs.
Is that when you knew? When did you know it was going to work?
I think the first song we wrote was Chuck Taylor's, and that felt so exciting and fresh and original, but familiar as well. It felt like it had my spirit in it, but in a fresh new way. And I thought, gosh, if I could find more songs that have that mix of familiarity and newness, this is what I've been missing on the previous record.